Chakshuram militam yena tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatade Shatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gautase Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopish Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. What happened? Okay. Hare Krishna. Just one quick second. Okay. So thank you all for joining in. You signed with what name? Okay. All right. Hare Krishna. So welcome once again for today morning program, part of Become a Sadhaka or Be a Sadhaka. So today we're not going to discuss from Ishopanishad as we have been discussing all this while. You don't have to show this, only when I show the document. They'll be distracted. Yeah. What was I saying? Yeah, so today the subject matter is not Ishopanishad, that what we have been discussing for last some days and weeks together. Today we are kind of celebrating or honoring Srila Prabhupada. From the last few years, we have been celebrating Srila Prabhupada's appearance by having programs, either by inviting senior Srila Prabhupada disciples who came online and spoke to all of us. We had His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj, we had His Grace Sankarshan Das Adhikari Prabhu, we had His Holiness Bhanu Swami Maharaj, we had many Prabhupada disciples who came and spoke. We also conducted online quizzes, Lilamrit based quizzes. So this is what we did from last few years like that. Many other devotees came and spoke about Srila Prabhupada. This year, we didn't organize that. We couldn't organize any of such things because there were already a lot of things were happening out here. So we thought, why don't at least we dedicate one session where we all come together and make an offering to Srila Prabhupada. In our previous years, we have not done like that. We only had we only heard about Srila Prabhupada, or else we read Lilamrit, we took part in a quiz, etc. So this time we thought, all right. And anyways, all these devotees are traveling far and wide, so now catching them is very difficult. So we thought, why don't we come together and glorify Srila Prabhupada? And nothing better can happen than to just take a pause in our hackneyed, boring life and just to remember and count the blessings that we have. So that's the whole objective of this program. So I'll take probably a cue. I'll take an initiative, set the background, speak a little bit about Srila Prabhupada, and then moving forward from there, then if devotees would like to share something about Prabhupada, you're welcome to speak and express yourself about Srila Prabhupada. So I would like to a little bit uh, do a timeline of Srila Prabhupada, just to refresh our memory who Srila Prabhupada was and how he lived his life. So Nand Utsav, 1896, next day of Lord Shri Krishna's appearance day, is what celebrated as Srila Prabhupada's appearance day in the house of Gaur Mohande and Mata Rajni. Gaur Mohande was a cloth merchant and Mata Rajni was a housewife. Oh, okay, yeah, you got those pictures, right? Correct. So we can show that. Oh, we can show it over here also. So this is a cluster of images. I took it so that, while I a little bit speak about Prabhupada's timeline, we all can meditate along with these photos here. So what was I saying? Yeah, 1 second. So he was born 1896 in the house of Gaumahandi, like that. And from his childhood, his father Gaumahandi, actually Srila Prabhupada, as Abhay Chanande, was born in a house of a pure devotee of the Lord, as Srila Prabhupada writes in one of his books, in Bhakti, in Bhagavad Gita, also in one of the Prabhupada writes about it. So his father, from his childhood, for Abhay Chanande, wanted him to become a preacher of Bhagavatam. He would invite many sadhus at their house, feed the sadhus, serve the sadhus, and at the end of it, he would only have one request: please bless my son, Abhay Charan, so that he becomes a great teacher of Krishna conscious philosophy and a great devotee of Srimati Radharani. It was Gaur Mohande who took an initiative through which he wanted Abhay Chanande to learn Mridanga. And it was Gaur Mohande who introduced Abhay Chanande to the worship of Radha Govindji. Calcutta, if you go, then you will find Radha Govind Dev over there. Any one of you have visited there? So it's a very beautiful devotee in Malik's house or palace, you can call it. And then, like this, we see from his early life, Srila Prabhupada had a strong attraction towards serving the deities. Or Abhay Chanande has a strong attraction. And he also celebrated, particularly he had attraction for celebrating Rath Yatra. From the age of 5, he was celebrating Rath Yatra festival. Like this, he lived his early life. And then from 1896, he grew up, and it was in 1922. Abhay Chanande had been already married for a few years. Probably he already had a child, if I remember correctly, by that time. It was his friend who brought him to meet a sadhu. In the beginning, it is mentioned Lilamrita. In the beginning, Prabhupada was Abhay Chanande was a little hesitant because he had seen a lot of sadhus and he was not impressed by many of them. And he thought, although they are sadhus, more or less everyone is afflicted by a disease called as selfishness. Nobody seems to be really concerned about well-being of others. So finally, his friend insisted him and brought him to a true sadhu, if you want to call it. That is His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And the very first meeting, as Abhay Chanande was brought in front of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said immediately, "Oh, you are a bright young man. You know English. You should preach the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in English language." Abhay Chanande was surprised. Hardly we met. We spoke anything. And Abhay Chanande had a discussion with Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He was impressed by the conversation. He asked me an intelligent question. One of that question was, we read in the Lilamrit. I have an anecdote written here. I'll read out that. And he said, how can we spread the teachings of Lord Shri Krishna when we are already a slave? First, our country needs to become independent. He was a Gandhian. He was a follower of Gandhi at that point of time. And Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said something very important, which I would like to read out as it is. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur replied, Krishna consciousness didn't have to wait for a change in Indian politics, nor was it dependent on who ruled. Krishna consciousness was so important that it could not wait. All governments were temporary. The eternal reality was Krishna consciousness. And the real self was the spirit soul. No man-made political system could help humanity. This was the verdict of the Vedic scriptures and the line of spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur speaking to Abhay Chanande. He continues, Real public welfare work should go beyond concerns of the temporary and prepare a person for his next life and his eternal relationship with the Supreme. And like this, when Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, Abhay Charande concluded, well, by no means he is a dubious sadhu. Because, as I said in the beginning, one disease was very prevalent, and that is still prevalent, that is selfishness. Whatever happens, we cannot give one thing, that is I. And he saw there is a sadhu who's actually talking about helping each and every individual across the globe, dependent on his, regardless of his nationality, regardless of his caste, current status in the society. He wanted to help everyone, and that's how he understood. Yeah, this is what actually a sadhu needs to be. And he was extremely impressed by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, but he couldn't do much at that point of time. As Abhay Charandev Prabhupada mentions, he was married. He wanted to join Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur full time and dedicate his life, but he had responsibility as a grahastha. This was 1922. Fast forward 10 years later, 1932, Prabhupada or Abhay Charandev met Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur once again, and that's the time when he took initiation. And his name became, what is it? Abhay Charandev. Abhay Charan? Abhay Charana Ravinda. Yes, like this. His name became like this after initiation. In 1932. Fast forward 1936. It was December of 1936 when Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur departed from this world. There's a reason why am I doing a relapse or a kind of a recap of this whole story. And I'll tell you that in a short while. So you don't think, oh, I know of it. Yes, that's okay. But there is something which we're missing here. So 1936, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur departed. However, a month ago, something very interesting had happened. Srila Prabhupada or Abhay Charandev had written a letter to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He was thinking, I'm a grahastha. My spiritual master is surrounded by so many sannyasis and dedicated monks. How can I serve? Although my wife is religious, but she is not supportive. She is religious, but she is not too much into this. Family member says, you're becoming too much Krishna conscious. Thoda sense gratification bhi kara karo. And she loved tea more than anything else. So he wrote a letter saying that, is there anything that I can do? I can serve you in a certain manner. And in that, after 2 weeks approximately, as Leela mentions, Abhay Charandev received a response from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. I guess I have that written also. And he wrote something very interesting in that. Let me just put out. Yeah. So, this is what the response I've written here. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes, I am fully confident that you can explain in English our thoughts and arguments to the people who are not conversant with the languages. This will do much good to yourself as well as your audience. I have every hope that you can turn yourself into a very good English preacher. And as soon as Abhay received the letter and when he read this instruction, he was reminded of 1922. Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, when he met Abhay Charandev for the first time, he also, at that point of time, also said the same thing. You are a bright student, you speak English, you should go and preach the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the English-speaking language. And when like this, he received a second time the same instruction, his confidence and his determination increased that he needs to do that. Like that, 1936 December, and I believe it was the last week of December when Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur departed from this world. All of you know around 36 and 37, around that time, Hitler marched his army at Poland. And by 1940, there was a Second World War. It was extremely turbulent time. And it's a time, please understand, when right after departure of Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, Gaudiya Math also disintegrated. The preaching stopped. So there was a conflict all over the world. It is said when a great personality departs, it leads to chaos on the planet. And that's what happened literally. But Gaudiya Math disintegrated, preaching stopped. There were all kinds of cases against sadhus by the sadhus themselves in the court. And sadhus, rather than going to do a preaching program, were now going to the court cases for the hearing. And here the World War II was going on, although India was not officially in the war, but because India was under the colonization of Britain, Britain was in the war. So India was also in the war. There was a lot of turbulence. And thirdly, there was already a freedom movement was picking up momentum here. So there was a lot of uproar. There are a lot of things were going on back in 1940s like that. And that's a time in 1940, because Bhakti Siddhanta had requested him to, preach to the English audience. Abhay Charande had started a magazine called as Back to Godhead during those tenure. He himself would write, publish, and distribute it. And in that time, he wrote an article, not that time, 1947, 45 war ended, and 1947 was split of Bharat. It became Indian Pakistan. And that's the time in 1947, 1948, Srila Prabhupada had published an article I have noted down, and that is titled as Gandhi Jinnah Talks. And Prabhupada writes, very relevant for all of us today. Fighting will go on between Hindu and Mohammedan, between Christians and Christians, between Buddhists and Buddhists, till the day of annihilation. As long as people are possessed of selfish interests and desires for sense gratification, they will continue fighting. Real unity was possible only on the platform of spiritual understanding and service to the Supreme. Like that, he published an article in 1947. And then from thereafter begins his life of struggle. It was in 1952. He was invited at Jhansi for the first time, where he gave a program. It was very well received. And then he decided to move to Jhansi in 1954. So 1922, met Bhakti Siddhanta, 1932, आपका क्या कहते हैं, Diksha. 1943, started Back to Godhead magazine, 40 to 43. And it was 1954, Srila Prabhupada established League of Devotees at Jhansi, like that. 1954 that happened. कौन सा वीडियो? मेरा कैमरा क्यों ऑफ हो गया? ठीक, anyways, right now they all must be seeing this. They should all see this anyways. Fine. And then 1950 was the time when Srila Prabhupada took Vanaprastha because of Tata tea. I mean, I don't know if there was Tata tea or which tea, but because of tea. You all know the story. So if you look back at Srila Prabhupada's life, not only Srila Prabhupada's life, 1947, now the struggle began for Hare Krishna movement from 36, when Bhakti Siddhanta departed. Whole 40th decade, you can say, was Second World War. And 50th decade was India recovering from all the crises it went through. India-Pakistan split, lakhs and lakhs of people. Prabhupada was in Bangladesh, was from Bangladesh. You can hardly imagine what all had happened in Bangladesh, in Bengal at that point of time. Sorry, not Bangladesh, Bengal at that point of time. So much killing happened in Bengal in those times. So 1950 was one of the most difficult phases of Srila Prabhupada's attempt to serve his spiritual master, trying to be submissive. Very interesting. Be submissive is not easy. To follow is not easy. And we see through the life of Srila Prabhupada like this. And like this, he went around, he moved to Delhi, and he started, he moved to a matha, Gaudiya Math like this, and he started publishing Back to Godhead magazine again. And he really had no money. He would publish articles, write articles, proofread it, print it, as you know, the details of it, and move around from one place to another, distributing like this. And one day, Abhay Charande had a dream. In fact, he had a dream several times. And finally, he saw and he understood it is the desire of Bhakti Siddhanta Sri Thakur that I should take a sannyas. And he took a sannyas, and it became Abhay Charana Bhakti Vedanta Swami. I guess it was around 57, 58, Srila Prabhupada took a sannyas. However, even after taking sannyas, nothing changed for Prabhupada. His struggle continued as it is. If you think it's so easy for us to find an audience, nobody was willing to hear Prabhupada. Nobody was willing to give his ear or lend his ear to Srila Prabhupada. There was no audience for Srila Prabhupada like this. And there was a turn of event, as Lilamrit mentioned. Prabhupada once met a librarian while distributing his Back to Godhead articles, and librarian suggested, Swami ji, आप इतनी मेहनत क्यों कर रहे हो? आप ये articles छापते हो, article लोग पढ़ते हैं, फेंक देते हैं. Rather, you should write books. Because anyone will read a pamphlet, read it once and throw it. But if you write a book, people will keep it, and books will be read again and again. So it was a librarian who said like this, and Prabhupada immediately picked it up. This is my spiritual master speaking. And from there, he took the service of a writing book. And for writing book, Srila Prabhupada moved back from Vrindavan to Delhi. And that is the time when Srila Prabhupada moved to Chippiwada temple at Chandigarh. So it was a, I believe, Radharaman temple. The Pujari, Prabhupada had met a Pujari through a well-wisher, and Pujari said, well, yes, you can stay here. Now, staying in Chippiwada in a peaceful place was easy for Prabhupada to write, and publishing could happen, and he can search out for donors, because now he's not writing articles, he's writing a book. He has to find a donor for that. Like that, Prabhupada moved to Chippiwada, and Leelamrit clearly mentions he wrote and wrote and wrote. He hardly slept and ate, but he was just writing and writing and writing. That was his determination, or I should say that was his submissiveness to his spiritual master. Like this, he did that. And after some time, he moved back to Shishi Radha Damodar temple. He wanted to be in the vicinity of Srila Rupa Goswami. He got the room, he got the kitchen. From his room, he could take the darshan of the deities, Radha Damodar deity. And from his kitchen, he could take darshan of Srila Rupa Goswami. And that's why he moved there and continued his writing there. And finally, long story short, one day he met Mr. Agarwal while just passing through Vrindavan. And Srila Prabhupada would often tell, and whoever he'll meet, Prabhupada would often say, if we'll get to know that he has some contact, she has some contact in America, he would often say, well, it was my spiritual master desire that I should go and preach. Can you arrange? Like that, Prabhupada just met this person 2 minutes ago, and he said like this. And Mr. Agarwal somehow took it seriously. Unbeknown to Prabhupada, after a few months, he received a letter from the foreign ministry saying that your application has been approved. And Prabhupada didn't know who approved his application. I mean, who applied for it? And then Prabhupada had to go back to Delhi, find from the foreign office, actually, who applied for my approval? And then he got to know Mr. Gopal Agarwal, son of Mr. Agarwal, who had met, had actually taken a vouch for Srila Prabhupada that if he comes to America, I'll bear all his expenses. And that's how Srila Prabhupada in 1965 boarded Jaladuta. You know about Srimati Murarji. He met Prabhupada met her. So much Prabhupada had to wait for hours together just to meet Srimati Murarji. If you think cultivating well-wisher is a challenging task, done from Prabhupada. For several hours at an advanced age, Srila Prabhupada waited at the office of Srimati Murarji when he was already rejected several times by the assistant to secretary Srimati Murarji. He stayed, waited there for hours together, and finally he himself met her and convinced her and got a ticket, not in a cruise liner, in a cargo ship. And that cargo ship had the voyage that cargo ship took, the journey that cargo ship took was his last journey, which means it was entirely broken down cargo ship. Don't think it was a newly built cargo ship, so he had a comfortable housing. That was his last trip, last voyage to America and back to India, and then put into it was dump yard, like that. It was dumped. That was a condition. And you know, all of us are aware of how much Srila Prabhupada had to bear while traveling in those turbulent waters. Long story short, 65, Prabhupada moved to America. It was 66, 67, and Srila Prabhupada fulfilled the dream, or in other words, established ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And from 67 to 73 or 74, most part of the world, there was an incredible response to Srila Prabhupada's teachings, and many temples and many centers, farm communities, everything came up between that. And 1975, when it was another momentous, occasion when the Rath Yatra, the famous Rath Yatra of New York happened. New York was the hub of the whole world. It was a very glorious moment for Srila Prabhupada to celebrate Rath Yatra like that. That famous photo of Srila Prabhupada with his hand raised high up, that is of that Rath Yatra. Like that, in 1977, Srila Prabhupada concluded his pastimes. During that course of time, 65 to 77, Srila Prabhupada traveled all over the world 14 times. He translated and wrote more than 60 volumes of books. And based on those books and his writings, not writings, but based on his lectures, many of the books were published. And the movement continues. All that he attained, the incredible amount of success that he attained, which has never been done by any acharya for that reason, anyone, if you see, gets highlighted because of one thing, submissiveness. He was submissive to the order of his spiritual master. And as you look at his life, being submissive is not easy. Being submissive is very challenging. To think, to follow is easy. You look at the life of Prabhupada, it's not easy. And therefore, Bhaktisiddhanta said, well, if you preach in English, it will benefit your audience and it will be good for you. So that's the one thing here. Second thing is about the boldness of Prabhupada, and that is his audacious nature. There's no more, I guess, on this thing. His trip to Moscow. I was recently listening and reading about in Lilamrita about his Moscow trip. He had just met the scientist, and it was a communist nation. You have no idea what communist meant. You have never been under communist regime. Is completely atheistic, not atheistic. Let's say America at large is atheistic. They hate religion. They hate religion. If they found you practicing anything, you'll be ostracized. Just like, in Islamic nations, if you're found practicing another religion, or if you're found disobeying the orders or the teachings of Islam or Quran, you can even your punishment can go up to being hanged or executed, like that as a communist regime. And look, Srila Prabhupada himself, he himself went there to take the message of Bhagavad Gita. They spent 5 days. Shyam Sundar Prabhu was there, another devotee was there, and 5 days they had to struggle. They couldn't find even a single vegetable and grain there. Any vegetable or fruit they found in USSR at that point of time was already spoiled or outdated. Nothing was there. That was the condition of that communist regime. And every single movement of Prabhupada and his men was monitored. Everything. And yet Prabhupada, knowing very well what communist regime is, Prabhupada personally went there along with Shyamasundar, another Prabhu there, and he spent 5 days. They were not allowed to go out of their hotel room. They just allowed the taxi will come, cab will come, pick them up, take them to meet Dr. Kotowski, if I'm correct, have a meeting and come back. Prabhupada thought maybe he would allow me to have a public audience, speak to the students. No permission was given. However, the will of the Lord was different. One day, Shyamasundar Prabhu, on the third day, I believe, he has gone out to shop. For him to get vegetables, he had to go and search for 7-8 hours. That was the situation in USSR. He went out for searching for vegetables. He was standing in a line. He was in his robes. And there, an Indian boy, along with a Russian native, came to meet him. This Indian boy was a son of an ambassador, Indian ambassador to Russia. And the Russian boy was a friend of this Indian boy. And they both began to speak to Shyamasundar Prabhu. Shyamasundar Prabhu saw some hope, brought them to the hotel to meet Prabhupada. And next 3 days, Prabhupada spent only with these 2 boys. And in these 3 boys, Prabhupada gave everything. And Prabhupada gave his own personal copy of Bhagavad Gita to that boy. Indian, God only knows what happened to that Indian. But who took the message seriously is that Russian. And that Russian, let me see if I have the name here of that Mr. Gorbachev, whatever you want to say. No, sorry, not that. No, not Gorbachev. His Anand Shanti was his name later on. Prabhupada later on initiated him like this, Anand Shanti. Anyways, and that one meeting without a hope has created a revolution in Russia. So that was the nature and quality of Srila Prabhupada like this. Can we pull out second chapter, verse number 41, 2.41? So we talked about, submissiveness brought success to Prabhupada, and it's not easy. Not only Prabhupada was humble or submissive, Prabhupada was also very bold, audacious. And the source of all that was the second chapter, verse number 41. Prabhupada writes a very beautiful purport. Vayavasayatmikaha buddhi ekaha kuru nandanaha bhushakahi anantascha buddhayo vayavasayinam. Purport. A strong faith that by Krishna consciousness one will be elevated to the highest perfection of life is called as Vaivasayatmikaha intelligence. CC or Chaitanya Chaitanya says, Shraddha Shabde Vishwasas Kahe Sudhrida Nishaya Krishna Bhakti Kaila Sarva Karma Kritaya. Faith means unflinching trust in something sublime. When one is engaged in the duties of Krishna consciousness, he need not act in relationship to the material world with obligations to family, traditions, humanity, or nationality. Fruitive activities are the engagements of one reactions from past good or bad deeds. When one is awake in Krishna consciousness, he need no longer endeavor for good results in his activities. When one is situated in Krishna consciousness, all activities are on the absolute plane, for they are no longer subject to dualities like good and bad. The highest perfection of Krishna consciousness is the renunciation of the material conception of life, I, and mind. This state is automatically achieved by progressive Krishna consciousness. The resolute purpose of a person in Krishna consciousness is based on his knowledge Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sa. The person in Krishna consciousness is the rare good soul who knows perfectly that Vasudeva Krishna is the root of all manifested causes. As by watering the root of a tree, one automatically distributes water to the leaves and branches. So by acting Krishna consciousness, one can render the highest service to everyone, namely self, family, society, country, humanity, etc. If Krishna is satisfied by one's actions, then everyone will be satisfied. Now comes the key point. Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasada. Service in Krishna consciousness is, however, best practice under the able guidance of a spiritual master who is a bona fide representative of Krishna, who knows the nature of the student and can guide him to act in Krishna consciousness. As such, to be well versed in Krishna consciousness, one has to act firmly and obey the representative of Krishna, and one should accept the instruction of a bona fide spiritual master as one's mission in life. Vishnu Chakrachakur writes, Yasya Prasad, Bhagavad Prasad, all of you know that. By satisfaction of the spiritual master, Supreme Person God becomes satisfied. I should therefore meditate and pray for his mercy 3 times a day and offer my respectful obeisance unto him, my spiritual master. The whole process, however, depends on perfect knowledge of the soul beyond the conception of the body, not theoretically, but practically, when there is no longer a chance for sense gratification manifested in fruitive activities. One is not firmly fixed in mind, is diverted by various types of fruitive acts. So what was the cause of Prabhupada's determination? His full surrender and submissive attitude towards the instructions of his spiritual master. And that brought about determination. If I look back in our own life, all challenges arises because most of us hardly have any connection with spiritual master, frankly speaking. Sorry to say that. It's a harsh truth. Most people today hardly can really say that we have a relationship with spiritual master. What relationship? How much do we hear of spiritual master? How much do we know what spiritual master wants? How much do we think what my spiritual master would want me to behave in such and such situation? Should I behave like this or not? So it all begins with submissiveness. And then all the qualities of audacious boldness or determination can follow. And the last 2 things, which I will quickly summarize here, is his humility. Reporter asked, so Swamiji, what is your contribution? Prabhupada, with all humility, said. Many occasions have happened like this. Like once in a college program, Prabhupada was giving a lecture. He was speaking about Varnashram Dharma. I believe it was in Paris. And there was a lot of communism thing was going on that time. And Prabhupada said there are 4 orders alive, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, like this. And some of the communist lobbyists became upset. And they said, so, which are you? You think you're the topmost? And Prabhupada put his head down and said, no, I'm the 10th grade human being. I'm the worst of all, like this. Another occasion, reporter asked Srila Prabhupada, Swamiji, what is your contribution? Prabhupada again, with all his humility, said, well, my only contribution is that I have presented the teachings of my spiritual masters and acharyas as it is. What it means? I have copied, pasted. I have copied. You're talking in the times when self-made man is actually considered a success. Yes or no? If you're self-made, you are successful. And Prabhupada said, well, I'm not a self-made. I'm a mercy case of my spiritual masters. And finally, his unwavering commitment to protect and present Krishna conscious philosophy. By no means he compromised in Krishna conscious teachings. At one meeting, his disciples suggested, Prabhupada, this 4 principles is very difficult for many people to follow. If somehow we can excuse the 4th principle, which you hope understand very well, which is the greatest challenge for many, not for many, for everyone in fact, if we can somehow excuse this 4th principle, then we'll have millions of followers. Prabhupada said, nothing doing. 4 principles means 4 principles. Chanting of Hare Krishna? No. 16 rounds minimum, because Veda says you must at least chant at least 25,000 plus names of the Lord every day, just to have enough goodness to protect yourself from the onslaughts of Maya. If you don't chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then there is very, very difficult. Prabhupada in fact said, even I cannot protect you in such a case like this. And also to his dress. When Prabhupada was asked, Swamiji, can we wear Western dress? Prabhupada said, no, I have not come here to become like you. I have come here to make you like Vaishnavas. Unwavering in that time, unwavering in the teachings, unwavering in his philosophy or teachings. That was Srila Prabhupada. In essence, Srila Prabhupada came and taught us how to become a real sadhu. S for submissiveness, A for audacious, D for his determination, H for humility, and U for unrelenting. Any student or a teacher or a preacher of Krishna consciousness, or as a devotees, we all are trying to become a sadhu. And these are some very important qualities that we need. And it all begins with submission, submissiveness. With a clarity in mind, Prabhupada said once, you think there are a lot of troubles and services? Don't worry. Once you reach Vrindavan, everything will be okay. So don't get too much overbothered or troubled by the temporary things of the world. Look at the goal. When you reach there, everything will be okay. And if you're not looking there, you're gonna be only in trouble. When the goal is not clear, only then we become short-tempered. When the goal is clear, we're willing to take extra step, take anything. But when the goal is not clear, it's problematic. And that's why for Srila Prabhupada was very clear. Not he's going back. He's very definitely going back. He was sure that he's going to take all the Kali Yuga products also. So he was willing to take all the trouble for that. And how much trouble he did for all of us to bring Krishna consciousness. He lived as a perfect sadhu and he taught us to become a perfect sadhu. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki Hare Krishna. So, anyone else would like to share about Srila Prabhupada? We can go. Yes, your poem is ready? The last line tumhara chali raha. Yes, Madan Sundar, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandat Pranams. Prabhuji, two things. One, I'll make a small submission. I'm not at all qualified, but a little bit, whatever I know, I will talk about Srila Prabhupada. And with your permission, Prabhuji, from this, I'll build you a temple. I would like to read the offerings of Giriraj Maharaj immediately after Prabhupada left this planet. Okay,
Yes.
Prabhupada. Yes, Prabhuji. Jai Shri Prabhupada, please accept our humble obeisances unto your lotus feet. And we are grateful to you for each and every day and each and every moment of our life. You taught us the purpose of life in the material world, which is called Mrityu Loka. We take this opportunity to specially remember you and glorify you. You changed the whole world, Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, we were just living our life, but when we got connected with ISKCON, which was established by you, we came to know about Lord Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that he stays in Golok Vrindavan, and we can go and stay with him forever. And there's no need to come back to this material world. You taught us how we can serve the Lord by chanting, reading books, do deity worship, stay in dhams, etc., and get intimately connected with Radha and Krishna. Without you, Srila Prabhupada, we would have been simply enjoying in this material world and come back again and again. You have taught us our life goal and how to take up to spirituality. Srila Prabhupada, you translated the books for us, and each and every word and line in your books are transcendental. Your various interactions with disciples and others and replies to the questions which were posed at you are out of the world and could have been only spoken by one who is fully empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We feel that Krishna was talking to us through you. Srila Prabhupada, we could not get your direct association, but are fortunate to be associated and hear from your disciples about your glories. On this occasion, Prabhupada, we beg for your mercy so that we can take up Krishna consciousness seriously and go back home, back to Godhead, and get your personal association there.
Haribol, Haribol. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Prabhuji, if you permit, I will just read a little bit, Prabhuji.
Yes. Please go ahead.
Soon after Prabhupada left, amidst all the grief and activity, I asked Tamal Krishna, thus Giriraj Maharaj is writing, whether there was any service I could do. Not now, he said, later. Why don't you write an article about Srila Prabhupada and his departure, which we can send to our friends and devotees. So, submerged in feelings of deep separation, I began quoting Srimad Bhagavatam 10:48-26. I'm just reading the translation. Who can surrender to anyone other than yourself? Who is as dear, truthful, friendly, and grateful as you? You are so perfect and complete. And even though you give yourself to your devotee, you are still full and perfect. You can satisfy all the desires of your devotee and even deliver yourself unto him. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is the most beloved personality, I wrote. And Srila Prabhupada was just like him. He loved him as the deepest, dearest personality, the soul of our life. He came from the spiritual world to tell us of our real life with God and to show us the kindness of God. He passed so many days with us in this material world. He was a divine personality. He was not of this world. He was never of this world. He came to show us God. Everything about him was perfect, and his sublime presence demonstrated perfection in every respect. His bliss, his beautiful body, his sympathetic face, his compassionate glance, his sweet words, his joyful smile, his appreciative eating, his profound voice, his peaceful resting, his ecstatic dancing, all were perfect from another world. He was everything to us, our mother, father, friend, companion, guide, master, child, life itself. How can we bear being separated from him? How can we tolerate such a love? Now he has left us here to carry on his mission, waiting for the day when we will again be with him and have the chance to serve him personally. You are the life and soul of the inhabitants of Vrindavana. So, because you have left Vrindavana, all the servitors of your lotus feet there are suffering. It is as if the lake filled with lotus flowers dried up from the scorching heat of separation from you. Now he has given us a grave responsibility to carry on his movement in separation. He was invested with us his mercy and to continue his great work. And we pray that we will be able to accept his divine grace properly. The whole world is feeling his absence, praying for his mercy. He has left a very insufficient vessel to carry that mercy, but still I pray that he will make me fit to carry from his divine grace. He was with us for so few years, we hardly had a chance to appreciate him. His every moment with us full of life, but we were so dull we could not appreciate him, and suddenly he was gone. One devotee said that his appearance was like a flash. He came of his own sweet will to deliver us, and of his own accord he left. But future generations will note his brief presence change the entire course of history. I am not elevated though to think of humanity. Mainly of I think only of myself. But I also felt his disappearance was like a flash, so brief, but it completely altered my life. Actually, he was like Krishna. Krishna's complexion is compared to a cloud, his yellow dhoti to lightning, and his merciful pastimes to rainfall. Similarly, Prabhupada appeared with his swarthi complexion, his saffron dhoti, and his loving exchanges just to enliven our transcendental senses, to remind us of Krishna as the supreme personality of servitor Godhead. When lightning flashes across the sky, the whole world is lighted in all directions. The dark night is illuminated, and we see the entire landscape of fields, trees, houses, roads, persons, everything. In this way, his divine presence showed us an entire spiritual realm, giving us a vision of our real life, our real home, a transcendental home with Kalpavriksha, Chintamani stones, Surabhi cows, and liberated personalities like him, all engaged in pastimes of love with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His electric presence sent a current through our hearts, and we will never be the same again. When lightning flash across the sky, only a few people may see it, but soon thereafter, deep sounds of thunder rumble through the sky, and everyone hears them and feels their vibration. Although only a few may have been fortunate enough to perceive Srila Prabhupada directly, everyone is hearing the thunderous roar of his message, his books, his Vani, the big Mridanga, the printing press, rolling on, vibrating everywhere. I will never die, he said. I will live in my books and you will utilize. A sleeping person may miss a flash of lightning, but the sound of thunder will surely awaken him from his slumber. Similarly, although we were so engrossed in our science, We could hardly realize who Srila Prabhupada was or what he came to show us. The thunderous vibration of his message of love is reverberating, resounding in our hearts. After the deep reverberation of thunder, the sky opens up and pours down rain. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada's rainfall of mercy is showering down upon the fallen souls. He opened our eyes with light and implanted the seeds of bhakti with transcendental sound. Now his rainfall of mercy is showering down upon us, giving water to the devotional creeper and helping us to grow up to his lotus feet. I offer my humble obeisances unto His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken at his lotus feet. I'll read one more para, Prabhu. The instructions of the Acharya are always accompanied by his mercy, his helping hand. In May, when Prabhupada was thinking of leaving us, he commented, "The trouble is you are all like my children." When we asked if the father leaves the children, is that very good? He replied, the children will be provided for. And now we are experiencing how he is arranging for our care and maintenance through his invisible eyes. I may be going, he told us, but Guru Maharaj and Bhakti Vinod Thakur are there. I have asked him to kindly take care of all of you, my transcendental children. The grandfather always takes care of the children much better than the father. So do not fear. Actually, when he was with us, we were always afraid that he would leave us. This transcendental anxiety increased our attachment for him. My dear Lord, when we are far away from you, when we are far away from you, we become anxious to see you again. And there is great misery in our lives. But when we do see you, you are there immediately. When we do see you, there immediately comes the fear of separation. Under the circumstances, both when we see you and we do not see you, we are subject to different kinds of tribulation. He made us so attached to him that we cannot imagine living without him. Now we have to follow him back to Krishna. He gave us a taste of nectar and now he has gone away. What remains for us to do? We can only chase after his footprints, shouting Krishna, Krishna. Otherwise, what attraction do we have for Krishna? He came to attract us and free us, and now he also has left us to lead us back to Godhead. As the swan dives deep into water amongst the lily flowers and would die if it were taken out of water, we only wish to be with you. Our limbs are being shrunken and faded because you have been taken away from us.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mother. Hare Krishna. Anyone from here? Boys? Okay. So we will go one by one. So Shubham Prabhu, go ahead. एक सेकंड आपका आवाज आना चाहिए ना ऑनलाइन. Somebody please give the mic. जल्दी करो. Yes, आ रहा है. चलिए.
एक पोएम लिखा था प्रभुपाद जी का.
Is it audible, devotees? Okay, yeah, go ahead. Please read out.
यूं तो मैं भटक रहा था अनजाने राहों में, फंस रहा था माया के जालों में, टूटा और बिखरा था, सबसे रूठा था और दर दर भटक रहा था खुद के तलाश में. दुआ करता था कृष्ण के दर पर झुक के उनके पादों पे, और प्रभु ने मिलाया मुझे प्रभुपादा से. अशकों को मिटा के जीना सीखा है, अनजानों की ये दुनिया में खुद को जो अब जाना है. सत्य प्रेम की परिभाषा जानी है, कृष्ण ही है मेरे, मैं ही हूँ उनका, कोई ना है दूजा. अब बस वही है मेरी अभिलाषा, अब केवल उनको ही पाना है, जाना है. अब विनती मैं प्रभुपाद से करता हूँ. मैं बालक अज्ञानी हूँ, थोड़ा गुस्ताखियाँ भी करता हूँ. थोड़ी गलतियाँ बहुत हुई होंगी मुझसे, जाने या अनजाने में. माफ कर देना मुझे और साथ देना हमेशा, रूठना ना कभी मुझसे, क्योंकि आप तारोगे तो कर जाऊंगा, जन्म मृत्यु पे पार कर जाऊंगा. मैं कृष्ण प्रेम को हमेशा के लिए मैं पाऊंगा. मैं भटका हूँ अभी, पर फिर से मैं अपने घर गोलोक चले जाऊंगा. और अंत में कहता हूँ, यूं तो मैं आपका वर्णन कर सकूं, ये मेरी वाणी में इतना दम नहीं, मेरे जैसे अज्ञानी को इतना ज्ञान नहीं.
हरि बोल. We just composed it today morning. So wonderful. Yes, Mother Medhavni, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandat Pranams. I will ask my daughter. Daita wants to make an offering. So she'll
Sure.
first make a.
Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Srila Prabhupada for everything he has given us. Like a loving father, he guided all the devotees and corrected their mistakes. He also remains a great inspiration for me because despite all the difficulties he faced while his preaching, he never gave up and was determined to spread the message of Lord Chaitanya. So I also would like to remain determined and fixed to achieve my goal. I hope that one day I will be able to follow his instructions to the best of my ability. Hare Krishna.
Haribo.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Madan.
Prabhu, I just want to read His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj offering first, and then I will just give my offering. My dear spiritual father, Namo Vishnupadhaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. You have brought the mercy of Nitai Gaura around the world. Lord Chaitanya told Lord Nityananda that we have descended from the spiritual world with the express promise and purpose of delivering the foolish, the fallen, the low-born, and the distressed. I qualified.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. I qualified in all four aspects before becoming a devotee. You have made good fortune for all devotees around the world by giving them the divine glance of Lord Nityananda. I saw how tirelessly you woke up at midnight every night, and for 3 to 4 hours, you were writing your translations and purports for the Srimad Bhagavatam and different kinds of literature. This was a great sacrifice you made, and you chose your words very carefully while writing these books. So in your presence, you held the Bhakti Shastri exam, which I took, and by your mercy, I could pass and receive my Bhakti Shastri degree. I noticed that you wanted everyone who takes second initiation to have the Bhakti Shastri degree. For sannyasa, they should have Bhakti Vaibhava. And even in some letters, you said that to be a guru, to give initiation, a person should have the Bhakti Vedanta degree. And you were hoping that everyone, men and women. Oh, sorry, Prabhu, 1 second. Yeah, sorry. For a person should have the Bhakti Vedanta degree, and you were hoping that everyone, men and women, would read your books and would take these degrees. Actually, in 1969, the definition of a Bhakti Vedanta was someone who had studied the whole Srimad Bhagavatam plus teachings of Lord Chaitanya. And now, Bhakti Sarvabhauma would mean Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. You wanted that people should read your books, and they prove they are reading your books by having these exams. I have been trying to fulfill your desire. I have a Bhakti Vaibhava degree, and I'm studying now for my Bhakti Vedanta degree. Although I have read your books many times, you told us that to get the first initiation, we had to read the Bhagavad Gita 10 times. You were very insistent that we should know the philosophy and should read your books. And I see this as a very important milestone that we should implement in ISKCON. I am praying that by your mercy, we can make your vision come true, that everyone in the Krishna consciousness movement reads your books and gets their degrees. Sometimes devotees are very proud that they have not read your books and they don't have any degree. Maybe this is not as important for the disciples who knew you personally, but as the generations go on, the only way they can realize they can associate with you is mainly through your books. So I do hope that reading your books becomes a preoccupation with everybody. I remember how you were explaining that if someone asks a book distributor what is in the book, and the distributor says, I don't know, I just sell the books. You did not want that. They should know what is in the book. They should believe. They should preach it. They should give it out. How can we achieve that? Your vision was that we have degrees. So I want to see that your vision is implemented. Our present Minister of Education also wants to encourage everyone to read your books. I think this is very enthusiastic and encouraging. And I pray for your mercy that we can base our growing society on your Krishna conscious teachings. Everyone has some different aspect or different idea based on the same scriptures. The scripture is Krishna himself, which is absolute, but different scriptures say different things in different situations. So we need a judge to understand how to apply the scriptures. You are the judge. You are the person who tells us how to understand the scriptures and how to apply this transcendental knowledge. I want your glories to be understood by all the generations. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to your sincere followers, your servant of the servant, Jai Pataka Swami.
Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. Thank you, thank you. Is on Jai Pataka Swami Maharaj ki jai.
Prabhu,
Yes.
if you permit me, I just want to read His Grace Radhesham Prabhu's offering also, and then mine will be one line offering only.
Mother,
Is
then
it
we'll
okay?
make it in the end because it's almost 8:45. You can make your offering and you can share Prabhu's offering on the group. All right.
Okay, Prabhu.
Go ahead.
I've already shared it in the group.
Perfect, perfect. So they
Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale, Shrimate Japataka Swami Niti Namine, Acharya Padaya, Latai Kripa Pradhayani, Gaurkata Damadaya, Nagra Gramatarine. Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale, Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvisesha Shunyavadi, Paschatya Desha Tarine. Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Mukam Karoti Vachalam, Pangum Langayati Girim, Yat Kripatamaham Mande, Shri Gurun Dinatarinam, Paramananda Madhavam, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram, Harihi Om Tatsat. Hare Krishna, my dear Srila Prabhupada, thank you very much for everything that you have given us. This 2 minutes, 3 minutes may not be sufficient, will not be sufficient to even touch the tip of the iceberg of your glories. Amongst the various things that I want to thank you for, Srila Prabhupada, whether it is Association of Devotees, whether it is the ABCD square formula that you've given us that would enable us to attain Krishna Prema. The one thing that I would like to thank you amidst all of these wonderful things is the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, the body that you said, which is your body that you've given us. It is indeed by the Association of Devotees that we get whenever we go into any temple of International Society for Krishna Consciousness in any part of the world, we feel at home. We feel that we are entering our second home in any part of the world because we know what is going to happen. We know that it is going to start with Mangala Arati and then it's going to end with Shayana Arati. We know what is going to happen when somebody comes to our temple, say Radha Giridhari Mandir at Meera Road, we get the opportunity to welcome them, serve them for your pleasure. At the same time, we know that whenever we go across any part of the world, we will be welcomed with open arms, giving us service opportunities, giving us every way that we can build a connect with all of those devotees, and that connection stays forever and forever. And all those wonderful memories help us to remain Krishna conscious. Like you mentioned in that purport, Smartavya Satatam Vishnur Vismartavyo Najatu Chit Sarve Vidhi Nishedhyasur Etayor Eva Kinkaraha. All of the rules and regulations that we follow, including the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in the Association of Devotees, studying Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, performing devotional service, performing Archa Vigraha Seva, everything is to satisfy these two principles, which is never always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. And thank you for creating this International Society for Krishna Consciousness, which enables us to actually remember Krishna always and never forget Krishna. I also would like to thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for giving us His Holiness Jai Pataka Swami, Srila Guru Maharaj, who is encouraging us to study your books. I would like to also express my gratitude to His Grace Madan Sundar Prabhu, who is actually helping us fulfill the instructions of Guru Maharaj by serving and satisfying and pleasing Guru Maharaj. I can serve, satisfy, please Srila Prabhupada, the entire Guru Parampara, all the way to Shri Radha and Krishna. His Grace Madan Sundar Prabhu, I would like to express my humble gratitude and offer all thanks to you. You enabled us to study Bhakti Shastri. You are going to enable us to study Bhakti Vaibhav. In this way, we are, although you are not at all qualified to study Srila Prabhupada's books, you actually light the lamp of transcendental knowledge. You enable us to understand the purpose of Srila Prabhupada in your daily sessions, whether it is be a yogi session or it is Brahma Muhurta Japa talk, or whether it is the Bhakti Shastri classes, or whether it is the Janmashtami program happening at Hinjewadi, right? We all get access to all the online lectures that enables us to always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So I take this opportunity to express my gratitude to Prabhupada and all the wonderful devotees of Prabhupada who've dedicated their lives in serving, satisfying and pleasing their spiritual masters. And in this way, I beg for their blessings. I beg for the blessings of Srila Prabhupada that I can follow in their footsteps and give up this attitude of aham mameti. And slowly but surely, by following your instructions, I seek your blessings to develop this quality of selflessness, this quality of performing manasa, vacha, karmana for the service of Guru and Gauranga. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada.
Mother, you created a Guinness Book of World Record for the shortest line. All right. Okay, Abhishek, go ahead. Wait a second. Yeah, go ahead.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु जी। मैं एक रिक्वेस्ट करती हूँ, क्या मैं अपनी ऑफरिंग पहले दे सकती हूँ हिंदी में?
Yes, yes, mother, go ahead, no problem.
थैंक यू प्रभु जी, थैंक यू। हरे कृष्णा। आज की मीटिंग में सभी वैष्णव भक्तों को मेरा दंडवत प्रणाम। श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम अज्ञान तिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानांजन शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। सभी भक्तों को मेरा दंडवत प्रणाम। मेरा बहुत ही मैं सिंपल और एकदम शॉर्ट में मैंने ऑफरिंग लिखी है प्रभु जी, और मैं हिंदी में देने वाली हूँ।
बहुत बढ़िया माता जी, हिंदी में
हाँ जी।
बस मेरी सभी भक्तों से प्रार्थना रहेगी, समय को ध्यान रखते हुए आप लोग अपनी प्रार्थना पहले करके फिर डायरेक्ट ऑफरिंग दीजिए।
यस, करेक्ट प्रभु जी, क्योंकि 2 मिनट का समय दीजिए प्रभु सबको, नहीं तो फिर यहाँ तो शाम हो जाएगी करते करते।
I mean, Prabhupada deserve that, no problem. एक दिन फास्टिंग करने की क्या प्रॉब्लम है, but no problem. Yes, mother, go ahead.
हरे कृष्णा। तो मेरे, आपके और हम सबके आध्यात्मिक गुरु, जिसे हम पिता भी मान सकते हैं, श्री प्रभुपाद के चरणों में मेरा कोटिस नमन दंडवत प्रणाम। आज इस्कॉन जिनके नाम से जाना जाता है, उसके संस्थापक आचार्य, भक्तों के शिक्षा गुरु, जिन्होंने गौड़ीय संप्रदाय के पूर्व आचार्यों की शिक्षा को समझा व सही क्रम से हमारे समक्ष रखा। ऐसे आध्यात्मिक संत न भूत में न भविष्य में कभी पैदा होंगे, जिन्होंने हमें कृष्ण प्रेम भक्ति प्रदान की। आज पूरे विश्व में हरि नाम संकीर्तन की गूंज है। प्रभुपाद जी, आप भगवान कृष्ण के सच्चे प्रतिनिधि हैं। आप हंस के समान वेदांत स्वच्छ व परम हंस भक्त है। श्री प्रभुपाद जी एक आदर्श शिष्य थे, जिन्होंने अपने गुरु की आज्ञा को सर्वोपरि माना। उनके ग्रंथ कृष्ण भावनामृत में लाभ की तरह है। उनके गुरु की 2 ही इच्छाएं थी, प्रिंट एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूट बुक्स, प्रीच इन्वेस्ट, जो उन्होंने पूरी की। श्री प्रभुपाद जी कहते थे, हमारा धर्म एक है, हम यूनाइटेड नेशन है, हमारे विचार एक है, हमारे पास एक शास्त्र है, हमारे एक ही देव है, वो है देव की पुत्र, और हमारा एक ही मंत्र है, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। और हमारा कर्म भी एक है, उस देव श्री कृष्ण की सेवा करना। हे परम आध्यात्मिक गुरु, आपने हरे कृष्ण की दुनिया बसा दी। इस्कॉन आपकी देह है। एबे यश घुसुक त्रिभुवन, आपका यश तीनों लोकों में फैल गया है। श्री प्रभुपाद जी कहते थे, समय ही कृष्ण है, इसे मत गवाओ। ये तुकाराम जी का देश है। गांव गांव में जाओ, पद यात्रा करो, कृष्ण के ऊपर आश्रित रहो। श्रील प्रभुपाद वास्तविक भारत रत्न है। उन्होंने भारत के वैभव, संस्कृति व आध्यात्मिक ज्ञान प्रचार वैश्विक स्तर पर किया है। प्रभुपाद जी को अगर हम सच्ची श्रद्धांजलि तब होगी उनके लिए जब हम उनकी शिक्षाओं का पालन करेंगे और उन्होंने जो उनके मिशन को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए प्रयास करेंगे। तो प्रभुपाद जी ने अमेरिकन को भी ब्राह्मण बना दिया, हिप्पीज को भी हैप्पी कर दिया और 12 बार पूरे विश्व का भ्रमण किया और जेट एज प्रीचर थे। हरे कृष्णा, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय जय प्रभुपाद।
Hare Bol. All right, Abhishek Prabhu.
थैंक यू प्रभु।
Hare Krishna, Mother Danvas.
हरे
हरे कृष्णा। तो थोड़ा शॉर्ट में नहीं लिखा है।
Short will be good. Everyone can go ahead. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna, dear Srila Prabhupada. All glories to you, all glories to you. In such an old age where people think of relaxing for rest of their lives, you took a responsibility of all the jivas present on this earth who are wandering here and there in search of happiness in this world full of illusion. No doubt in this, you also had fulfilled the instruction given by your spiritual master. The accomplishments which you got are no less than a miracle. Whatever you have done, no doubt, is humbly impossible. It's humanly impossible, but by your most sincere devotional service, you attracted the grace of the Lord Krishna. You are Shakta-based of the Yuga. Personally speaking, I was moving towards darkest of the darkest future, that too with full speed. Having full faith and conviction on scientific research and advancement, and scientists also, simultaneously had zero faith on the religion and its practices. Hence, it took me a while to join your movement, but because of only you, Prabhupada, because of your scientific, because of your logical and analytical purpose, I was able to take to the practices. And Prabhupada, so that way you have reversed my direction of progress. I was heading towards hell. Now you turned my direction, and now slowly, slowly, by your mercy, I'm aggressing towards the spiritual goals. I don't want to criticize any sampradaya as they are doing great in their devotional service, but at the same time, they are overlooking at the conditioned souls like me. But you felt pity on me and people like me and went to your side to make them accept our glorious Vedic teaching so that the jivas who carry inferiority complex like me would learn a lesson and again connect to the roots. I hope someday I will follow your teachings and preach the message of Lord Chaitanya far and wide.
Hare Krishna. Mother Yagya, go ahead. Your volume is, your audio is not clear.
Am I audible, Prabhuji?
There is some disturbance, Mother. Wait a second. Let me just mute everyone else. I guess others. Okay, Mother, go ahead and speak now.
All right. Am I audible, Prabhuji?
Yes, yes, yes. Nitai Pranpu, you are after Mother Yagya. Okay? Yes, Mother Yagya.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for sharing this opportunity. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for firstly bestowing your causeless mercy on an extremely fallen soul like me. You have provided all possible means to the most fallen soul to cross this ocean of deep misery. No matter how much I try, but I can never match even a pinch of struggle, conviction, perseverance, and determination, as you have showcased us by the means of your own example. Knowing all the struggles a living entity could face due to the past habit of living a life of ignorance, with sense gratification the only motivation driving us forward, you have opened up all the doors to tap the mercy and make progress, even if it required for you to face a lot of risks. Who can ever know the depth of your heart, which only knows to serve for the pleasure of Guru and Gauranga and take all possible risks? How can I qualify to glorify you, dear Srila Prabhupada, since you have done all that is most pleasing to Lord and further showing us this direction, not only to us but all other souls who wants to walk on such path. My mind cannot partake or ever comprehend to sum up your contributions, but you have done all which is so much of a benediction to whole humanity. If we have to measure your success, it can be seen not only with your very life or example, but also with the lives of all such souls who came into your association and carrying forward your instructions so dearly. It is undoubtedly true in experience, the process of Krishna consciousness. The society of such like minded souls is the most beautiful form of community existing, the taste of which is realized in each other's association, sustained by your instructions, and the nectar of which is felt itself by being engaged in the service opportunities you vision for us. This is the only good hope in the present times because without the true knowledge, it is so difficult to be even aware of our own disease. It is because of you we have been made aware of our disease, and it has been your causeless mercy to share the sweetest medicine to the toughest prevailing disease of ignorance. After being part of this beautiful process of dancing, chanting, eating, and glorifying, the most difficult disease is cured, as the human mind can only perceive a solution as per its own nature, which is so complex to comprehend. But it has been due to your sacrifices, we are tasting the simplest of the things, the most complex problems. I'm able to write very less due to my strong disease, but there is so much to be written and glorified. All I feel is incompetent to glorify your glorious position and lack appropriate words, showing you how strong my disease at the present moment is. But it has been your mercy coming down through your representatives. I'm able to think, meditate, and purify my disease. If there's anything worth considering, dear Srila Prabhupada, it is your empowerment sense what to say of our position.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mother Yagya. Mother Sudha will take yours, and then Nitai Pranpu will conclude with your offering. Because almost 9:05. Yes, Mother Sudha.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mother.
I'm a neophyte, the least qualified to say anything about Srila Prabhupada. But I would like to say that I agree that His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, can be called a reincarnation of Rishi Vedvyas himself. Like the great Rishi, Prabhupada was also empowered, representative of Lord Krishna himself. That is why he could write the traditional literature in an easy language and present them on a platter to us. Srila Prabhupada can be called not one in a million, but the only one of his kind. Without him, we all would not have been here. Whatever little association that I've had with his books and his body is gone, I find a lot of peace within myself, and I feel that I have found a new family. Thank you, Prabhupada, for all that you have given me. And I just seek your blessings so that I can proceed on this path further. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Bo. Nitai Pranpu. Hare Krishna.
Dhanavad Pranam Prabhu. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. Reading a small offering that I have written here. Om Agyantamidhantasya Gyananjala Sharakaya Chakshurunvilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guru. Our dearest spiritual grandfather, Srila Prabhupada, please accept our humble obeisances unto your divine lotus feet. All glories to Shri Guru and Gaurang. Seeking blessing from Shri Gurudev to find proper words to glorify you on this special occasion of 127th Appearance Day anniversary. Starting with the bhajan from Shannagati written by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Oh he Vaishnava Thakur, Dayara Sagar, Edase Karuna Gori, Diya Pada Chaya, Sudohe Amaya, Tumar Charan Dhuri. Translation, quote, O Vaishnava Thakur, devotee of Krishna, O ocean of mercy, be merciful unto your servant. Give me the shade of your lotus feet. Teach me to control my 6 passions, rectify my 6 faults, and bestow upon me 6 qualities. I don't have strength to carry Sankirtan alone. Please give me just 1 drop of faith in holy name. Unquote. This stands so true for a fallen, insignificant soul like me, who is struggling to control 6 passions and continuously committing offenses. It is only your mercy coming in parampara through Guru and Vaishnav which gives us strength to continue on this path of bhakti with faith and devotion. We recently heard that before moving to Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan, for almost 1 year, you were living in seclusion in an inhabitable place near river Yamuna. From whom did you undertake so much austerity? You in fact got malaria 3 times at that place. Also, while living in Radha Damodar temple, you were completely absorbed and focused in planning for your preaching mission, like a warrior who is preparing for a war. From whom did you undertake so much of pain? 2 heart attacks in a ship on a way to America, initial struggles in America, which no one could dare to do at the age of 70. But you did it, Prabhupada. From whom you did it? You did it for all of us, who could otherwise today be lost in this illusory world of Maya. You did it to follow the instruction of your spiritual master and show us that what does it mean. You did it to fulfill the prediction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna himself, who said his names will be chanted in every town and village. Who else should Prabhupada except you would have done this? Creating 108 temples in 10 years, more than 10,000 followers, and today also, so many years of your leaving this planet, the institution is flourishing. It is power of your teaching and the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You raised all your disciples as your own sons and daughters, and they are nourishing us all in this loving family. We want to carry this legacy forward, and so we pray to be blessed with 6 positive qualities, like Bhakti Vinod Thakur said in the above bhajan. That is of enthusiasm in practicing devotional service, firm faith, strong desire, favorable attitude, avoiding non-devotees, and appreciating association of devotees. You make us feel so fortunate to be part of this special golden movement of Golden Avatar Gauranga, and we beg you to never take us this fortune away from us. Rather, make us your puppet to expand this family far and wide. Like His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj shared in one of his remarkable talk, a mother would hide behind the curtain, thus encouraging baby to stand up and take those first steps and walk toward for mother because he cannot bear that separation. Similarly, you apparently left us, but we never got a chance to serve you in this lifetime. But you have given your instruction as Vani and books, which made us so much attached to you, even though we have never seen you or met you. And you are now urging us this way to follow you, your instruction, and clear this test. The ground of union is the spiritual world, and by your mercy, we have the hope to reach back to Golaka and serve Sri Radha Govinda under your eternal guidance. Shri Prabhupada Vyas Puja Mahamotsav ki jai. Shri Gaurang Mahaprabhu ki jai. Your aspiring most insignificant servants, Nitai Prandas, Karuni Gopika Devidasi, Shaunak and Kalandi.
Hi, Vol, hi, Vol, hi, Vol, hi, Vol. Wonderfully and very nicely, and you have taken good amount of time. The good thing about writing is you get to contemplate. And when you write, it further strengthens your thinking. So thank you so much. I mean, it was just everything done abruptly. There was no plan as such. During a class, I kind of said something, let's express our gratitude to Srila Prabhupada. And today morning I thought, well, why don't we just speak about Prabhupada? So thank God I didn't spoke Ishopanishad class. You guys will be starting now offering. So, but good. at least we got some experience of doing it, and I'm so happy to see many of you. And regarding all the boys, we'll hear them now, because all of you also have to attend to different responsibilities. So next time we'll organize and we'll time it. But thank you all, everyone, for sharing your wonderful thoughts and feelings of affection for Srila Prabhupada. Hearing all of you strengthens my faith and increases my affection towards Srila Prabhupada and to the Vaishnavas. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining.